Dave Hawkins wasn't supposed to die today. At least that's what he kept telling himself as he crawled through the ventilation shaft of Outpost Sigma-7, the galaxy's most forgettable refueling station. The metallic clanging of his toolkit against the shaft walls wasn't helping his stealth situation. "Just a routine repair job," he muttered, mimicking his supervisor's voice. "In and out in 2 hours, Hawkins. Even you can't screw this up." Yet here he was, separated from his ship, the SS Unfortunate Timing, which had departed approximately 17 minutes after an unexpected radiation storm forced an emergency evacuation. Dave had been too busy fixing the outpost's life support systems to hear the alarms. Story of his life, really. Torres to Hawkins. "Please tell me you're not still on that station." Commander Valerie Torres's voice crackled through his comm device. "Would it make you feel better if I lied?" Dave whispered, pausing to wipe sweat from his brow. "For God's sake, Hawkins. The outpost has been flagged as a Nexulon hunting ground." Dave's blood turned to slush. Everyone knew about the Nexulons. 8-foot-tall apex predators with exoskeletons that could deflect most conventional weapons. They considered humans the ultimate sport. Not because humans were particularly challenging to kill, quite the opposite. Nexulons just enjoyed the surprised look on a human's face when they realized they were about to be eviscerated. "How long until rescue?" Dave asked, trying to keep his voice steady. 18 hours minimum. You need to find a secure location," and Torres's voice cut out as Dave's comm device flashed red and died. "Perfect timing as always," Dave grumbled, smacking the device against his palm. He froze when he heard a distinctive clicking sound echo through the ventilation system. The sound Nexulons made when they were excited about an impending kill. Dave began moving faster, his breathing shallow. The clicking grew louder. He didn't bother looking back, partly because the shaft was too narrow to turn around in, but mostly because he didn't want his last vision to be of a Nexulon's feeding mandibles. He kicked out a vent cover and tumbled ungracefully into what appeared to be a storage closet. The door was jammed. Of course it was. Dave fumbled with his multi-tool, desperately trying to bypass the lock mechanism as the ventilation shaft above him groaned under the weight of something much larger than a human maintenance technician. The last thought that crossed Dave's mind before the ceiling collapsed wasn't profound. It wasn't a reflection on his life or regrets about unsaid goodbyes. It was simply, "I never even got overtime pay for this stupid assignment." Then darkness fell along with several 100 pounds of alien predator. When Dave regained consciousness, he was surprised by two things. First, he was alive. Second, he was staring directly into the compound eyes of a Nexulon warrior, its mandibles clicking thoughtfully just inches from his face. "Hi there," Dave said, because his survival instincts had apparently taken a coffee break. "If you're going to eat me, could you make it quick? I skipped breakfast, so I'm probably not that filling anyway." The Nexulon tilted its armored head, its iridescent exoskeleton catching the dim emergency lights. It made a series of clicks that Dave's universal translator rendered as strange prey. No fear display. Dave laughed. He couldn't help it. Fear had pushed him straight into hysterical territory. "Oh, there's fear. Tons of it. I'm just too terrified to show it properly. Human malfunction." This seemed to confuse the Nexulon. It backed up slightly, allowing Dave to scramble to his feet. The storage closet was cramped with both of them inside, like an elevator with a particularly murderous stranger. "Hawkins. Come in, Hawkins." Torres's voice suddenly blared from his previously dead comm device, startling both human and alien. The Nexulon hissed, raising its front appendages in a threat display. "Bad timing, Torres," Dave whispered, slowly reaching for his multi-tool. His fingers closed around a canister of industrial lubricant instead. Well, it was better than nothing. "The rescue shuttle launch has been delayed. New ETA is 24 hours. Are you secure?" The Nexulon lunged. "Dave, operating on pure panic, sprayed the lubricant directly into the alien's face while simultaneously ducking and covering his head with his toolkit. He fully expected to feel claws tearing through his spine at any moment. Instead, he heard a series of crashes, followed by what sounded suspiciously like alien cursing. He peeked through his fingers to see the Nexalon sliding uncontrollably across the floor, its claws unable to find purchase on the now slick surface. "I'll call you back, Torres," Dave said calmly, before shutting off his comm. He watched in fascination as the fearsome hunter continued to struggle with the simple physics of friction or lack thereof. After several failed attempts to stand, the Nexalon settled into what appeared to be a sitting position, its compound eyes fixed on Dave with what he could only interpret as begrudging respect. "Not hunt this one," it clicked. "Clever prey uses environment. Worthy opponent." "I'm not an opponent," Dave corrected, slowly lowering his toolkit. "I'm just a guy who fixes things that break. Like that ventilation shaft you just destroyed. That's going to be a write-up when I get back." The Nexalon's mandibles clicked rapidly, which Dave's translator struggled with before spitting out. "Prey speaks to predator without submission. Unusual. Interesting." Dave sighed and slid down the wall to sit across from the alien. "Look, we're both stuck here for the next day or so. I don't want to die, and well, I don't know what you want, but maybe we could just coexist until my rescue arrives." The Nexalon studied him for what felt like an eternity before responding. "You are pack leader? Alpha? Me? God, no. I'm barely middle management in the maintenance department." This seemed to confuse the alien even more. It pointed to the insignia on Dave's uniform. "Yet you wear the mark of the Stellar Maintenance Guild, high honor among your kind." Dave snorted. "It's just a job patch. It means I clean air filters and fix broken toilets." The Nexalon rose to its full height, or as much as the cramped closet would allow, and made a series of formal-sounding clicks. "I am Nexalon Hunter Class KZ Tick. I claim you not as prey, but as worth observing. Your cunning deserves study." "Great," Dave replied, wondering if alien-induced Stockholm Syndrome worked both ways. "I'm Dave. I claim this closet as my not-getting-eaten sanctuary." By hour 6 of their bizarre standoff, Dave had named the Nexalon Rex partly because he couldn't pronounce KZ Tick, but mostly because the alien reminded him of a terrifying, exoskeletal dog. A dog that could disembowel him with a casual flick of its claw, but still, the comparison stuck. "So Rex," Dave said, chewing on an emergency ration bar he'd found in his toolkit, "what brought you to this particular outpost? The scenic views? The 5-star accommodations?" Rex's translator struggled with sarcasm, but the alien had been surprisingly communicative. "Hunting grounds, marked. Traditional." "And now?" Dave gestured between them. "This isn't exactly traditional, is it?" Rex's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "No, not traditional. But you different. Use tools, strategy, not run in fear circles like normal prey." "Fear circles?" Dave raised an eyebrow. "Yes, most humans run in circles when hunted. Inefficient. Boring." Rex made a dismissive gesture. "You different. You worthy of protection." Dave choked on his ration bar. "Protection? From what?" "What?" As if on cue, a distant explosion rocked the outpost, causing dust to rain down from the ceiling. Rex immediately moved into a defensive position between Dave and the door. "Other hunters," Rex clicked. "Not all Nexalon respect worthy prey." "Oh, fantastic," Dave muttered. "So instead of one alien trying to kill me, now there are multiple?" "Not kill. I protect." Dave stared at Rex, trying to process this development. "Why would you protect me?" Rex's translator struggled before producing "You now, my king." Dave blinked several times. "I'm sorry, what?" In Nexalon hierarchy, when prey demonstrates superior cunning, becomes elevated. Sacred duty to protect. Learn from new king. That's flattering, I guess, but I'm not a king. I'm barely qualified to operate the coffee machine on my ship. Rex wasn't listening. The alien was focused on the sounds of movement in the corridor outside. Stay behind. I defend king. Before Dave could protest further, Rex pressed a claw to the door control, causing it to slide open. The Nexalon charged into the corridor with a battle cry that made Dave's hair stand on end. The sounds that followed were not pleasant. Metal tearing, alien shrieks, and what Dave could only describe as the sound of exoskeletons being forcibly rearranged echoed through the outpost. Taurus to Hawkins. His comm crackled to life again. We're picking up multiple Nexalon life signs at your location. Find better cover immediately. Dave peered cautiously around the doorframe. Rex stood triumphantly over two smaller Nexalons who were making submissive gestures Dave didn't need a translator to understand. Actually, Torres, Dave said slowly, I think I've got the situation under control. Sort of. In a really weird way. What are you talking about, Hawkins? Dave watched as Rex explained something to the other Nexalons using elaborate gestures, occasionally pointing back at Dave. The smaller aliens kept looking at Dave with what appeared to be awe. I think I've been adopted. Or promoted. It's complicated. Rex returned to Dave's side, standing at attention. King's safe now. These serve King too. The other Nexalons approached cautiously, then bowed their heads. One of them clicked something that the translator rendered as, "We serve the human king who defeats with slippery substance." Dave pinched the bridge of his nose. Torres, you're not going to believe this, but I think I just accidentally became alien royalty. Hawkins, Torres replied after a long pause, What the hell did you do? Honestly, I panicked and sprayed lubricant at a deadly alien predator. Dave shrugged. Apparently that's grounds for coronation in Nexalon culture. 18 hours later, Dave sat cross-legged on an upturned storage container that's surrounded by 5 Nexalons, Rex, and 4 others who had joined what Dave was reluctantly calling his court. They were all watching him expectantly as he attempted to repair his damaged multi-tool. So Dave said, addressing his alien audience, on Earth we have this thing called personal space. It's the invisible bubble around a person that others don't enter without permission. My bubble is currently being violated by all of you. The Nexalons looked at each other in confusion before backing up approximately 2 inches. Better, Dave sighed. Much better. His comm device beeped. Hawkins, this is Captain Marcus Ortega of the rescue vessel Determined Intervention. We're docking in 5 minutes. Sit tight. Dave had never met Captain Ortega, but he'd heard stories. The man was legendary for his no-nonsense approach to crisis situations and his particular dislike of complications. A human surrounded by Nexalons definitely qualified as a complication. Captain, Dave responded, there's something you should know before you board. Save it, Hawkins. We're coming in hot. Ortega out. Dave looked at Rex. This is going to go poorly, isn't it? Rex's mandibles clicked in what Dave had come to recognize as agreement. The docking bay doors opened with a hydraulic hiss, revealing Captain Ortega and 6 heavily armed security officers in standard-issue combat gear. They froze at the sight before them, one disheveled maintenance technician sitting calmly amidst a group of the galaxy's most notorious predators. Nobody move. Ortega barked, raising his pulse rifle. Hawkins slowly walked toward us. Dave raised his hands. Captain, it's not what it looks like. It looks like you've been taken hostage by Nexalons. Okay, it's definitely not that. Rex and the other Nexalons shifted into defensive postures, their exoskeletons bristling. Tell your men to lower their weapons, Dave said carefully. These Nexilons are protecting me. Protecting you? Ortega's eyebrows shot up so high it nearly left his face entirely. Have you lost your mind? Probably, Dave admitted. But they think I'm their king now, and they're very serious about it. One of Ortega's security officers snickered, then quickly disguised it as a cough when the captain glared at him. Their king, Ortega repeated flatly. It's a cultural misunderstanding, Dave explained. I outsmarted one of them accidentally, and now they think I'm worthy of protection instead of digestion. Rex stepped forward, causing all 6 security officers to aim their weapons at him. The Nexilon made a series of formal clicks that Dave's translator conveyed as, "The King of Clever Solutions will board your vessel. We accompany to ensure safe passage." Absolutely not, Ortega snapped. No Nexilons on my ship. Rex's posture stiffened. Then King stays here with Royal Guard. Dave felt a headache forming behind his eyes. Captain, may I suggest a compromise? Rex comes with me. The others stay behind. Rex. Ortega looked like he was developing the same headache. You named it? Meh. Dave corrected. And yes, it was easier than pronouncing his actual name. Ortega's comm device beeped. Captain, this is Dr. Elena Martinez. I'm monitoring from the xenobiology lab. This is unprecedented behavior for Nexilons. Request permission to study this interaction. Denied, Ortega barked. We're retrieving our technician and leaving. With all due respect, Captain Martinez countered, we're witnessing potentially groundbreaking interspecies communication. The scientific value is incalculable. Dave looked at Rex, then at the increasingly frustrated captain. If I may, sir. Rex saved my life from other Nexilons. I think I owe him at least the courtesy of explaining why I need to leave. After a tense standoff involving much glaring and mandible clicking, Ortega finally lowered his weapon slightly. You have 2 minutes, Hawkins. Make them count. Dr. Elena Martinez was trying very hard not to bounce with excitement as she recorded Rex's movements around the Determined Interventions conference room. The Nexilon had insisted on inspecting the entire ship before allowing his king to remain aboard, much to Captain Ortega's barely contained fury. Fascinating adaptive behavior, Martinez murmured into her recorder. The subject has completely inverted its predatory instincts toward this specific human. Dave, who was sitting at the conference table with his head in his hands, looked up. Could you please stop talking about him like he's not standing right there? He understands everything you're saying. Rex clicked his agreement, running a claw carefully along the edge of a control panel. Of course, my apologies, Martinez said, switching to address Rex directly. May I ask why you've chosen to protect Mr. Hawkins? Rex's mandibles worked thoughtfully before his translator produced. He defeated superior opponent using inferior resources. Shows wisdom. Cunning. Nexilon respect, this above all else. I sprayed him with lubricant and he slipped, Dave clarified for the umpteenth time. It wasn't exactly master strategy. Yet effective, Rex countered. Used environment, adapted. Not strength but clever thinking. Captain Ortega entered the conference room, his expression suggesting he'd been sucking on lemons. Martinez, tell me you've figured out how to get rid of our guest. Captain Martinez began diplomatically, we may want to reconsider our approach. The Nexilons have been hostile to humanity for centuries. This could be a unique opportunity for. She was interrupted by an urgent communication from the bridge. Captain, we're being approached by a Nexilon vessel. They're requesting permission to dock. The room fell silent. Nexilon ships never requested permission for anything. They either attacked or ignored. Rex clicked rapidly, too fast for the translator to keep up. Dave looked at him with concern. Rex, what's wrong? When the translator finally caught up, it relayed, Elders coming. Heard of human king. Must see truth. Oh, that's just great, Ortega muttered. Now we've got a ship full of these things to deal with. Dave stood up. Captain, let me talk to them. With Rex as an intermediary, maybe we can establish some kind of dialogue. Absolutely not, Ortega said firmly. I'm not risking. Sacred Hunt interrupted. Rex interrupted. Great dishonor unless explained properly. If Elder's not satisfied, hunting fleets will come. Ortega's face paled slightly. Hunting fleets? Thousands of hunters, Rex confirmed, seeking honor through combat. Martinez stepped forward. Captain, I think we should listen to Mr. Hawkins. This situation has escalated beyond a simple rescue mission. Dave felt his stomach knot. How had fixing a malfunctioning life support system led to him potentially preventing an interspecies war? 3 hours later, Dave found himself facing 7 Nexalon elders in the ship's cargo bay, the only space large enough to accommodate them. Their exoskeletons were adorned with elaborate markings that Rex had explained denoted their status and hunting achievements. So Dave began awkwardly, welcome aboard. I understand there's been some confusion about my royal status. The translator struggled with the elder's formal dialect, but the gist came through. Hunter KZ Tick claims human defeated him using superior tactics. Claims human worthy of protection, not consumption. Unprecedented. Dave nodded. Look, I think we got off on the wrong foot or claw in your case. I'm not actually royalty. I'm a maintenance technician. I fix things. This seemed to interest the elders. You create, repair, sustain? Yes, exactly, Dave said, relief washing over him. That's my job. To keep systems running so everyone stays alive. The elders conferred among themselves, their clicking creating a sound like hailstones on a metal roof. Finally, the largest elder stepped forward. In ancient times, Nexalon also had fixers. Lost arts now. Hunters only. Perhaps mistaken understanding your kind. Dave exchanged glances with Martinez, who was recording everything with barely contained glee, and Ortega, whose expression had shifted from hostile to cautiously intrigued. Maybe, Dave suggested carefully, humans and Nexalons could learn from each other? We're pretty good at fixing things. You're obviously excellent at other skills. The elder considered this. Cultural exchange? Not prey and predator, but allies? Why not? Dave shrugged. Stranger things have happened. He glanced meaningfully at Rex, who stood protectively at his side. Absolutely not, Commander Torres said flatly, staring at Dave and Rex as they stood in her office aboard the SS. Unfortunate timing. You cannot keep an alien predator as a pet. He's not a pet, Dave protested. He's more like an exchange student or a bodyguard. Or both. Rex clicked what Dave had come to recognize as the Nexalon equivalent of agreement. Torres massaged her temples. Hawkins, do you have any idea what kind of paperwork this is going to generate? There are no protocols for bringing a Nexalon aboard a human vessel that don't involve emergency containment procedures. But the diplomatic agreement Dave began is still being processed by 17 different bureaucratic departments, Torres finished. In the meantime, I have a maintenance technician who's suddenly become an interspecies liaison officer. A position that doesn't even exist in his alien bodyguard who terrifies the rest of the crew. Rex clicked indignantly. He says he's been making an effort to appear less terrifying, Dave translated. He's kept his hunting spines retracted all week. Torres looked up at the ceiling as if seeking divine intervention. That's thoughtful of him. Dave's comm device beeped. Hawkins, this is Dr. Martinez. The Nexalon cultural attaché has arrived. They're requesting your presence in Docking Bay 3. On my way, Dave replied, then looked at Torres, on duty calls. As Dave and Rex walked through the corridors of the ship, crew members either stared in fascination or flattened themselves against walls to give them a wide berth. Dave had almost gotten used to it. "So, Rex," Dave said conversationally, "looking forward to visiting Earth?" Rex clicked thoughtfully. "Many new hunting grounds to see." "Not for hunting," he added quickly when Dave tensed, "for observation only." "Right. About that we need to establish some ground rules before we reach Earth. First, no eating the neighbors. Even if they attack. Especially if they attack. Earth neighbors attack with noise complaints and passive-aggressive notes, not actual weapons." Rex's mandibles clicked in what Dave had come to recognize as confusion. Strange combat rituals. "Second," Dave continued, "you can't refer to me as king in public. It's embarrassing and might give people the wrong idea." "What term instead?" Dave considered this. Friend would work. Rex stopped walking, forcing Dave to turn and face him. Friend, Rex tested the word. Equal term, not hierarchical. Exactly. Rex made a formal gesture that Dave had learned signified respect. "Dave, friend, then. I will protect friend as I would protect king." Dave smiled. "And I'll keep explaining human customs so you don't accidentally start an interplanetary incident every time someone offers you a handshake." As they entered the docking bay where the Nexalon attache waited, Dave reflected on how rapidly his life had changed. 2 weeks ago, his biggest concern had been whether the coffee machine would break down before his shift ended. Now he was at the forefront of a historic alliance between species that had been enemies for centuries, all because he'd panicked and sprayed lubricant at the wrong alien. The Nexalon attache bowed as they approached. "Human king who is not called king," the translator rendered awkwardly. "Great honor to meet. Much to learn from each other." Dave returned the bow, having practiced the proper angle with Rex. "The honor is mine. And please call me Dave. Just Dave." Behind him, Rex clicked what sounded suspiciously like laughter. Some things, Dave reflected, didn't need translation at all. As the diplomatic meeting began, Dave caught Rex watching him with what he could only describe as pride. The alien had marked him as prey, but now stood watch, protecting him like a king, or better yet, like a friend. The universe, Dave decided, had a strange sense of humor. But then again, so did he, and that had worked out surprisingly well so far.